Welcome to Hollywood. Latest reports. The religious world has always been filled with rumors, whispers, and shocking revelations. But nothing has stirred as much curiosity recently as the secretive connection between Jonathan Cain, the husband of Paula White, and Donnie Swaggart, the son of Jimmy Swaggart, when word began circulating that the two men had met privately behind closed doors to discuss allegations involving Paula White. The story spread like wildfire. To many observers, this was not just a casual meeting, it was a calculated gathering, meant to address sensitive issues that neither party wanted exposed to the public. For years, Paula White has been surrounded by controversies ranging from her prosperity, gospel teachings to her alleged connections with political figures and celebrities. Her marriage to Jonathan Cain, a rock legend from the band Journey, brought even more attention to her personal life. On the other side, Donnie Swaggart, often in the shadows of his father Jimmy Swaggart's infamous scandals, has also faced criticism for his own lifestyle and preaching style. The sudden news that Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart held a secret meeting sent shockwaves through both the evangelical and secular communities. Those who first leaked the story claimed that this was not just a friendly chat between two men of faith. Instead, it was a highly confidential session about allegations linked to Paula White, allegations that, if made public, could damage reputations and unravel long-standing alliances within the ministry world. While details remain hazy, sources close to both families suggest that the meeting was deliberately hidden from church staff, family members, and the public eye. The secrecy itself raised more questions than answers, fueling speculation about what could have been so urgent and dangerous that it required Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart to meet without anyone knowing. Observers point out that the Swaggart and White families have long shared similarities. Both are rooted in charismatic preaching, both have faced massive scandals in the past, and both know the sting of public exposure. This is why many believe that the alleged meeting was not accidental but strategic. The fear of history repeating itself, where private sin becomes a global headline, may have been what drove Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart into the same room, away from cameras and congregations. According to insiders, the meeting allegedly took place in a private suite of a luxury hotel, far from the churches that normally host their ministries. Only a handful of trusted individuals were aware, and even those individuals were reportedly sworn to silence. Yet somehow, fragments of the discussion leaked, and now the world is demanding answers. Was Paula White facing new allegations that threatened her ministry? Was Donnie Swaggart, with his family's history of scandals, giving Jonathan Cain advice on how to manage a brewing storm? Or was there something far deeper, something so controversial that even the most loyal followers would struggle to accept it? What is certain is that this story has reignited interest in the ongoing drama surrounding high-profile televangelists. Many Christians who once looked up to these figures are asking whether their leaders are truly living the lives they preach. Meanwhile, critics of prosperity preaching are using the alleged secret meeting as evidence that the system is built on deception, secrecy, and self-preservation. And as more whispers emerge, the world is left wondering just how much truth is hidden behind closed doors. The story of Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart's secret meeting quickly grew into a whirlwind of speculation because of the people involved. Paula White has always been a lightning rod for criticism, whether because of her controversial theology, her political connections, or her bold lifestyle as a televangelist who stepped into the highest circles of power. Jonathan Cain, once known as the rock star keyboardist from the legendary band Journey, shocked the entertainment world when he publicly embraced faith and tied his life to Paula White's ministry. Donnie Swaggart, meanwhile, carries the heavy legacy of his father Jimmy Swaggart, whose moral failures shook the foundations of American televangelism in the late 1980s. Each of these three names on their own can spark headlines. Together, they create a perfect storm. So when whispers began that Jonathan Cain had slipped into a hotel conference room late one evening to meet Donnie Swaggart, the Christian community buzzed with speculation. Why these two men? Why in secrecy? And above all, why was Paula White's name at the center of it all? Some claimed that the meeting was about financial allegations tied to ministry donations. Others whispered of personal issues, possibly even scandals connected to Paula's past. For a world already familiar with high-profile Christian leaders falling from grace, the idea of another bombshell revelation seemed all too believable. Eyewitnesses reported that Jonathan Cain entered the meeting first, his demeanor serious and guarded. He had reportedly flown in under the radar, avoiding the kind of public fanfare that usually follows a celebrity of his stature. A few minutes later, Donnie Swaggart arrived, accompanied only by a single associate who quickly disappeared once the two men were inside. From the outside, nothing about the meeting was visible. No cameras, no open doors, no official statements. But it was the secrecy itself that lit the spark. If this was a casual talk, why hide it so carefully? Inside sources have painted a dramatic picture of what allegedly transpired behind those closed doors. According to one account, Jonathan Cain appeared deeply troubled, pacing the room before finally sitting down across from Donnie. His words were heavy, his tone serious. "It's about Paula," he allegedly said, a phrase that instantly set the tone for the rest of the conversation. The details that followed are murky, but whispers suggest that Jonathan shared concerns about allegations beginning to circulate in certain church circles. These allegations reportedly question not only Paula's theological practices but also her personal relationships and financial dealings. For someone like Jonathan Cain, who had already sacrificed his rock star image to stand by Paula's side, the thought of fresh controversy threatened both his marriage and his faith journey. He needed advice, and he turned to Donnie Swaggart, the son of a man who had endured perhaps the most famous televangelist scandal of all time. Donnie's role in the meeting is where the story grows even more intriguing. Those familiar with the Swaggart family know that Donnie himself has faced scrutiny, sometimes accused of arrogance, harsh preaching, or personal failings. Yet, he has also been hardened by decades of watching his father navigate public disgrace. If anyone knew how to weather the storm of allegations, it was Donnie. According to one insider, Donnie leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and listened intently as Jonathan poured out his concerns. The conversation, it is said, then turned to strategy. What would happen if the allegations against Paula White gained traction? Would her ministry crumble? Would Jonathan's credibility collapse? Would the connection to Donald Trump and the political right unravel as quickly as it had been built? These were not small questions. They were questions that could determine the future of their families, their churches, and their reputations. What shocked many when the story began leaking was not just that Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart allegedly discussed Paula White's issues, but that they may have been plotting ways to keep certain truths from ever surfacing. Whispers of damage control and containment spread like wildfire. Some sources went as far as to suggest that Donnie urged Jonathan to silence critics before rumors could solidify into facts, whether through financial settlements, private negotiations, or spiritual posturing. The alleged advice carried an air of secrecy that only fueled suspicions further. The fact that Donnie Swaggart, a man whose father's ministry nearly collapsed due to hidden sins, was allegedly counseling Jonathan Cain on how to shield Paula White only added layers of irony. Was history repeating itself? Were lessons truly learned, or was the cycle of cover-up and exposure destined to repeat for yet another generation of televangelists? Meanwhile, Paula White herself remained silent in the public eye. She carried on with her ministry appearances, her television broadcasts, and her public image as though nothing unusual was happening. To her followers, she was the same bold, confident preacher they had always admired. But to those who had heard whispers of the secret meeting, her every word and gesture now carried hidden meaning. Was she hiding something? Was her calm exterior a mask for deeper turmoil? The situation grew even more complicated when reports emerged that Jonathan Cain had been visibly stressed during recent public appearances. Fans noticed his distracted expressions, his lack of energy, and even his occasional absence from ministry events. For a man once known for electrifying stage performances in arenas filled with tens of thousands, the sudden dimming of his presence did not go unnoticed. To many, it was proof that something was weighing heavily on him, and that something was very likely connected to Paula White and the allegations whispered behind closed doors. The alleged content of the meeting also touched upon the Swaggart family's own vulnerabilities. Donnie reportedly warned Jonathan that once whispers begin in the religious world, they rarely stop. He reminded him of how quickly his father Jimmy Swaggart had gone from the most powerful televangelist in America to a disgraced figure on national television confessing, "I have sinned." It was a sobering reminder that no one, no matter how powerful or famous, is immune to exposure. According to the same insider, Donnie's words were chilling. If you don't get ahead of it, it will consume you. From there, the meeting allegedly shifted to possible alliances. Could the White and Swaggart ministries quietly support each other if one came under fire? Could financial or political connections be leveraged to deflect criticism? Could public narratives be reshaped to turn accusations into testimonies of redemption? These questions reportedly filled the room, echoing long after the meeting ended. But what has kept this story alive is not the confirmed facts, because in truth, very little is confirmed. What keeps it burning are the unanswered questions, the secrecy, and the patterns of history. People know that Paula White has been accused before. People know that Donnie Swaggart's family has lived through scandal. People know that Jonathan Cain sacrificed his rock star reputation to stand by Paula, and he will not let that crumble easily. Put all these elements together, and the alleged secret meeting becomes not just believable but almost inevitable. When Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart finally emerged from that private hotel suite, neither spoke a word to the press. Both men left quickly, avoiding eye contact with bystanders and retreating into their own worlds. But the silence only made the noise louder. By refusing to address the whispers, they left a vacuum that was quickly filled with speculation, theories, and accusations. And in the world of televangelism, silence is rarely golden. It is usually a signal that something far bigger lies beneath the surface. In the end, the secret meeting between Jonathan Cain and Donnie Swaggart only deepened the mystery. Allegations remain unanswered, whispers continue to grow louder, and followers are left with more questions than clarity. What truly happened behind closed doors may never be revealed, but the scandal refuses